The Pledge of Allegiance, please, in a moment of silence. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I recommend that minutes pertaining to the privacy of students and their records, approval of home instruction requests remain sealed.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? It's unanimous. Thank you. I recommend that minutes pertaining to the privacy of students and their records, rescinding of home instruction requests remain sealed.
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Thank you.
There were 7 votes taken in executive session. Executive session minutes 8/20/24 for the emergency plan. There were 11 in favor with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, Purcell, and Reynolds in favor. Minutes pertaining to the CTC denial. There were 11 in favor with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, Purcell, and Reynolds in favor. Minutes pertaining to homeschool request, August 20th, 2024, 11 in favor, with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, Purcell, and Reynolds in favor. Homeschool request, 10 in favor, 1 abstained, with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, and Reynolds in favor, and Purcell abstaining. Homeschool request, 11 in favor, with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, Purcell, and Reynolds. Rescind homeschool for noncompliance, 11 in favor, with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, Purcell, and Reynolds. And then return to open session, 11 in favor, with Chambers, Chapman, Colasante, Giusti, Hopkins, Luzon, Lyle, Phelps, Pouliot, Purcell, and Reynolds. Thank you.
We have some very exciting recognitions this evening, and I see both of our nominees and winners in the audience. We're going to begin with Cheryl Lightfritz. Cheryl, give a wave so everybody knows that you're here. So, the Charahoe Regional School District is proud to announce Cheryl Lightfritz as the recipient of the 2025 Teacher of the Year Award. This prestigious honor recognizes Ms. Lightfritz's exceptional dedication, expertise, and tireless commitment to her students and the broader Charahoe community. Since joining Charahoe in 2006, Ms. Lightfritz has demonstrated unparalleled expertise in working with students in our Adaptive Daily Living Skills program. Her work spans both the middle and high school levels, where she has consistently shown an extraordinary ability to connect with and communicate effectively with all of her students. Ms. Lightfritz holds both a bachelor's and master's in education from Ohio University, and her diverse experiences range from elementary education to special education across pre-K through high school settings. Her proficiency in implementing evidence-based practices such as visual supports, structured routines, and sensory accommodations has created a learning environment that promotes engagement, independence, and success. Ms. Lightfritz extends the classroom into the community by creating opportunities for peer interaction, communication skills, and development of healthy students' relationship building and navigating social situations with confidence. Her dedication is reflected in her efforts to actively involve her students in all extracurricular activities. Her main goal is to foster independence and enhance their daily living opportunities and real-world experiences, thereby promoting inclusivity and diversity within our school and community. It is with great pleasure that we celebrate Cheryl Lightfritz as the Charahoe District 2025 Teacher of the Year. Her dedication, compassion, and innovative approach to teaching truly embodies the spirit of this award, and we are honored to recognize her outstanding contributions to our district. Cheryl will be celebrated this Saturday during the Water Fire Education Recognition event in Providence, and we hope some of you will come and join us. Congratulations, Cheryl. Cheryl, you don't have to, but you want to say a few words? You tell her if you don't, but the floor is yours. You want to plug some of the nice things that are happening, maybe? Go for it, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Come on up. Come right to the
up
microphone.
podium. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a lot of exciting things on the horizon.
I would just like to start by saying I was lucky enough to be mentored by Mr. Zenyon for many years, who always puts kid first and was open to my creative craziness, as was Mrs. Durkin. So it's because I'm standing here because I was supported by administrators who allowed me to say, here's what I think we need to do with our kids. Here's what other schools are doing. Here's what's working. Let's do it. And so this past year, Jennifer and I worked really hard on our new transition academy. And basically we're taking our Charahoe students, 18 to 22, out into our community. So I just went and hit businesses and hit places and said, you know, our kids need to be out. We need to be working. We need to be with children their own age, young adults. And we've made that happen. We go to the Preserve on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they do a variety of work activities. Mondays, we go to the Mystic Aquarium, where they have a beautiful Charahoe community classroom set up. Wednesdays, we go to URI, and we either work in the athletic department or we work in the dining hall. And that truly, to me, is one of my favorites because that is our kids being on a college campus with their peers. And we had lunch last Wednesday up in the Ram's Den. And one of my students said to me, she goes, are these kids my age? And I said, yeah. I said, you are sitting with your peers. And then on Fridays, we either go to the community center in Charlestown and we serve lunch, or we go to the new food pantry in Bradford. So, but I'm fortunate enough that I've been supportive by administrative people to do what I like to do.
Thank you, Cheryl.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And congratulations. Next, we have our Support Professional of the Year, Melissa Carrier. Melissa, wave so everyone knows you're here. The Charahoe Regional School District is proud to announce Melissa Carrier as the 2025 Support Professional of the Year. Melissa, who has served as a teaching assistant at Ashaway since 1993. She exemplifies the dedication, hard work, and unwavering commitment that defines this prestigious award. Whether assisting with small group instruction, providing individualized support, or stepping in to help wherever needed, Melissa's contributions are invaluable. Her uplifting and positive attitude has made her a beloved figure among students, parents, and colleagues alike. Her genuine care for the students she supports is apparent in her daily interactions. From supervising the morning program and student drop-off, where she greets every child by name and engages warmly with families, to offering support during lunch and recess, Melissa's presence is a reassuring and joyful part of the school day. Her proactive approach and readiness to volunteer her time are evident in her support of school-wide activities and initiatives. Having worked in Charahoe District since 1989, Melissa began her career as a part-time teaching assistant at the middle school before becoming a full-time assistant in the 90s. Her extensive experience includes supporting students in our extended school year programs and even contributing as a summer custodian and painter last year for the school environment to make sure it was ready for a new school year. Her unwavering commitment to enhancing the educational experience for all students. We are so excited to give Melissa this award. Congratulations, Melissa. So Melissa said, thank you very much. They were both announced at Convocation and for the opening in front of all of their colleagues, which was a wonderful celebration. So congratulations again. They both received flowers and a beautiful plaque so they can take home. So now I have a very special recognition, and I'm going to start with Catherine Giusti.
Yes, thank you. As many of you know, this is Donna Siskevich's last meeting with us in her role as the clerk. I don't think we can overstate the impact that Donna's had on our community. I've had the privilege of knowing Donna for 11 years. She was the first person to offer me a kind word and encouragement as the parent liaison. Donna has always been a fierce advocate for children, both personally and professionally. She's worked with 3 superintendents, providing them with knowledge, support, and the history of Charahoe. During school committee meetings, we've all relied upon Donna to help keep us on the right side of Robert's Rules of Order. And the only time we've seen Donna get irritated is when someone is rude or churlish during a meeting through actions or words. I love a good Donna clapback, as it's always deserved. Donna has been the backbone of various Charahoe school committees for likely longer than she wanted to. Her knowledge, intelligence, and unparalleled notes will be missed, but what I will miss the most is her unwavering commitment to help the superintendent and the school committee serve all kids all of the time. Congratulations, and thank you for all that you've done for our community. Thank you.
Okay, Donna, we're not done yet. Get ready. Okay. I would like to take a moment to recognize and express my deep appreciation for Donna Siskevich. She has been a valued member of the Charahoe family since 2002. Over the years, she has continually amazed us with her dedication, efficiencies, and unwavering hard work. Whether tackling complex tasks or handling the daily hustle with grace, Donna's ability to stay on top of everything is truly remarkable. Beyond being an extraordinary employee, Donna brings humor, positivity, and a warmth to the office that makes every day better. Her laughter and lighthearted spirit keep us grounded and reminds us of the importance of the connections and joy that is so important when we all work together. Your contributions have left an indelible mark on our team. And as you step into your new chapter of life, we are excited for you and sad. We want to thank you, Donna, for all that you have done. You are truly the heart of our team, and we are so fortunate to have had a small part of you in our lives. To honor Donna's incredible contributions, I'd like to present with her a service award to recognize her for hard work and dedication over the years. I want you to enjoy your retirement, but most of all, I want you to keep in touch. I had to hide this for a while. I had to tell her when I'm leaving the building, I don't have to tell her where I'm going because I'm like, I gotta go pick up the video. So Donna, please stand. And I will read it. I'm gonna use Catherine the mic if you don't mind. Of course. Okay. I mean, I'm loud, so make sure you get this.
No.
So this is what her award says. In recognition of your outstanding dedication and valuable contributions to the Charahoe Regional School District from 2002 to 2024, your unwavering commitment for both students and staff have set a benchmark of excellence and inspired everyone around you. Thank you for your years of service and your remarkable impact on our community.
So Donna, this is just a little something from all of us to celebrate your next chapter. And probably not enough of what you've done for us and with us. I'm gonna miss you. Would you like to say a few words? No.
No, I can say I've loved every minute. It's bittersweet. It is. Every minute, Jen. I work with incredible people. And then, you know, they just have made my life over the last 22 years just wonderful. Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I'll miss Jeff's call on Friday afternoon.
When she says, Jeffrey, this better not be bad news on Friday at 4 o'clock.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we still have a few more. When we do the District Teacher of the Year and the Support Professional of the Year, there are nominees, and it is very difficult because they are all excellent. So I would like to share with you the nominees for this award were also for our educators, David Bannister, Kevin Hooper, and Christina Sparvin. And for the Support Professional, Christine McGill and Suzanne Witchell. Congratulations for your nomination. In other news, high school girls soccer team winners of the Piver Cup tournament for the third consecutive year. They beat Wesley by a score of 3-1. Wesley had their 16th game winning streak, snapped dating back to last year's Piver Cup championship game won by Charahoe 4-0. Congratulations. And our high school boys soccer team winners of the Piver Cup tournament for the first time. They beat Fitch by a score of 2-0. The tournament is played in honor of the 1996 Stonington High graduate Josh Piver, who played soccer for the Bears. Piver, for whom the Stonington boys soccer field is named, worked at Cantor Fitzgerald on the 105th floor of the World Trade Center, and he did pass in 9/11 attacks. So, remembering for his family, but this beautiful Piver Cup lives on in his memory. Congratulations to the boys soccer team.
There's nobody for public forum?
Okay. Field trips. I recommend approval of the following contingent on compliance with the policy. Request of Skills USA advisor Robert Wild for 1 Charahoe student, 8 students statewide, and 3 chaperones statewide to travel to the Skills USA State Officer Conference in Washington, D.C. from September 21st to September 25th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions? Those in favor? Is you, those abstaining? Who did you vote? Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize. I missed your hand. Okay, unanimous. Thank you.
Request of Skills USA advisor Robert Wild for 15 students and 4 chaperones to travel to the Skills USA National Championship in Atlanta, Georgia from June 22nd, 2025 to June 28th, 2025. Exact number of students will be determined after the state competitions in spring 2025, and complete itinerary will be forwarded to the superintendent once all plans are finalized.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
So he's preparing for the national, so,
Yes, we've asked him to be a little bit more efficient with
okay,
his
good.
requests.
So this is, so the first one is in September,
Yeah.
coming up, and then the nationals in June. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Those in favor? It is unanimous. Thank you.
Request of Coach Bill Haberak for 35 athletes and 7 chaperones to travel to the Manhattan College Invitational, Van Cortlandt Park, New York, from Saturday, October 12th, 2024, to Sunday, October 13th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Questions?
I just want to comment. I went 6 times on this trip, and to be honest, they're a little short on the chaperones. Usually there's about 20, 25 parents, but it's a great time had by all, so.
Any other questions or comments? Those in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.
Item B is the virtual learning day plan. You may recall this is the same plan as last year. There were no changes other than the date. I am recommending approval of this virtual learning. Otherwise, to many of you remember distance learning plans. The difference is that now it must be submitted yearly to RIDE. It must follow their benchmarks, and if we do use it, teachers are required to have 3 hours of live instruction, as many of you know. We prefer not to call a DL day based on the number of outages and struggles for our families to be able to do that. Based on our school calendar, we actually have 2 free days, if you will, based on the number of minutes that we go to school. So if we call 2 days, we actually don't have to make those up for students. Just a little FYI.
So
I'm
moved.
I'm recommending you approve the plan.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions?
Just a quick one. The links in the document
Yeah.
weren't live. Was that?
I can send you the live one. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the same as last year.
That's what I
Nothing-
thought, and yeah. But
It's
I
usually
just,
the school-specific stuff.
right.
yeah.
I was just curious.
Yep, and maybe just the way it's scanned. It's been funny, the tech.
Totally get it.
That's all I'm saying, Eric.
Is there any way to block kids from doing other activities on the computers? Because I noticed during the COVID thing, my grandson, he was playing games. My boss's son,
When they're here, yes. When they're with you, no. Is that
Okay.
basically it, Eric?
you can't put no blocks.
We
on
have
them.
some safeguards, but
There-
there's, yeah.
There are filters on the Chromebooks, even when they're at home, but there's nothing to stop them from playing, because there are educational games that are open, and some kids would rather do that than,
Yeah.
work sometimes.
Okay.
In the school, I mean, we're, as part of our grant, we have Go Guardian. So in the schools, the teachers will have access if they tend to tab down something to play a game. We will know instantaneously. They're not going to love that, but it will help us keep the focus. In school, but yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, those in favor? It was unanimous. Thank you.
Commitment of FY24 funds. I am recommending the commitment funds effective June 30th, 2024, as noted in the memo from Ned Draper dated September 11th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
Questions? Larry.
How much was left over in this fund, in the 2024 funds?
I'd have to look. Whatever's not in the memo, I can follow up on with specific questions. I remember I had asked everyone, if you have questions specific to these items, to call ahead of time, or I can get them for you tomorrow.
Okay.
Unless, if I know it, I will tell you, but I didn't, nobody asked me to bring the overall budget.
Any questions? Yes.
So, the second and third bullets, the capital project not yet completed,
Yep.
Are those things that have already been planned? or
Yes,
is it-
for
okay.
example, the member town housing aid, a lot of that is CTC roof already in projects. Some of it, there are two funding allocations, the capital fund member town that we get from the town, and then we have the housing reimbursement aid.
Yep,
So, but, yes, a lot of those have already been predetermined.
okay,
The ones that say school committee approved, you've already approved.
yep,
And the out of district tuition is, we typically, like we've told you, we sign, when a student goes to a program that we already have here at Charahoe Tech, we sign under protest. Not that they'll give us the money back, but we put that under protest with RIDE because we have the same program here. If they go to different programs, that's something we don't argue about, but if it's the same, our feeling is if our school is outperforming these schools, that they shouldn't be leaving. But we'll see how that goes.
Gina, could you just elaborate on the funding potential litigation results? Is there anything?
Those
you
are
can
always
say?
amounts that we add for, if you remember, if you recall, back in January 2024, we had the RGB litigation.
Right.
So typically, John will be here next month to discuss another litigation. There's always potential, so that's always the reserve that we put out every year.
So
It was about 170 maybe last year.
I know, there was a lot of praise for him about the flat rate. And so, how do we arrive at this particular number?
This isn't for John's salary, this is for overall litigation like we had with RGB.
Oh, like
Not just
things
legal.
that he can't cover too. They're
Both.
everything. Yeah. Okay.
Is that a percentage, that amount that's listed there? Is it a percentage of the total budget?
Which one?
The 195?
Not a percentage, no, that's the actual amount.
Okay.
How do you arrive at this amount? It's based on past practice of what we've had to have for legal cases.
Any other questions?
All right, those in favor? Look at that. I just missed one question. Thank you.
That was unanimous, thank you.
Okay, next item on the agenda is next steps as they relate to elementary school planning and phase out of Hope Valley Elementary School. So I did receive some questions from members. If you don't mind, Chair, I'd like to just start with those, please. Okay, so, and thank you for sending them. I won't, typically I don't share. Oh, here it is. Okay. So the first question I was asked to discuss during the Hope Valley conversation is, committee member thought it would be helpful if I addressed, in the most specific way possible, the length of time students presently attending Hope Valley would be on a bus should they be attending another school if Hope Valley closes. So Hope Valley is 3 miles from Richmond. A child's bus ride, even if it's not Hope Valley, is always dependent on where they live and the distance from the school. The number of stops, speed limits, et cetera, et cetera. The purpose of new lines is that our families are going to be attending the school closest to their home. Over the last several years, the students who have had the longest bus rides have resided in Charlestown. And those were, last year, we were almost over an hour because of the closing of the Kingstown Road concern. The other question was about if there's a way to help foster relationships, would we consider having children from the same town be in the same classes whenever possible? What I've explained is placing students in classrooms with teachers involves many pieces of data. Administrators consider learning styles, personalities, strengths, teaching styles, and classroom environments. The goal is to ensure we think about the whole child to bring out their best potential. A child's address is not a factor we consider when planning our student rosters. The process involves gathering an abundance of information about every student. It's thoughtful, it's deliberate, and it can significantly impact their educational experience. Teacher input is also noted in our teacher contract, ensuring a balance of needs. We must help all our families understand that we are a regional school district, and separating students based on their neighborhood or town is not something we would want to promote, as we want to focus on making sure everyone understands we're all Charahoe students. And those were the two questions I received, and I'm happy to answer anything else, or you guys can have your conversation. Catherine?
Gina, I know there's law regarding. I know there's law regarding what's the longest a child can be on the bus. Could you refresh
There's no
that?
law.
There is.
No, there's no law. There's recommendations.
Oh, I thought there was a law. Okay.
They try to ask that you try to be under an hour. Unfortunately, in a large 128 square mile region, it's a little bit difficult. And like I said, Charlestown students have had the longer bus rides. But what I would say is, in the beginning of the year, it's not a good barometer to bus rides because there's a lot of unknowns. For example, the beginning of the year, many of our parents do apply for transportation, but they don't use it. So in our policy, as many of you know, we have the 10-day no ridership, which means that we'll review riders. We have our athletic director to ensure they're not athletes, because if they're athletes, we let them stay because obviously they're off the bus for a particular reason. We have students who are new to buses. So we have little kindergartners with very teeny tiny legs that take a little bit longer to get up those steps. We also have the number of bus stops. We have drivers that are new to routes. We have drivers that are old, but they have new routes. We have an abundance of information. We also have parents who have moved into the district and have applied to transportation or have changed or moved. So we're doing all that updating. And I can be honest with you, with all the changes, even though we say it's due July 1st, when I tell you that people don't necessarily get their information in, the Ocean State does a very good job trying to really handle that. We always know, we don't even consider the timing of the routes up until like mid-September. So right about now, we're sort of shifting based on those reviews. And what I can tell you is now the number goal is everyone's getting to school on time, everyone's getting picked up on time. So we're there at this point, but we'll get more efficient, especially after we do some of the cleanup around no ridership.
Is there a plan for moving the preschool out of Hope
Great
Valley?
question. Actually, if you remember, my original recommendation was going to be Richmond, but based on the current numbers of Hope Valley, based on the new lines, I would recommend that Charlestown hold the pre-K at this time, based on our numbers.
And what would need to be done at Charlestown to
So in the
accommodate
state
preschool?
guidance around pre-K, I can share that list with all of you at the next meeting. It will certain parameters around the room size, sinks, bathrooms, etc., have to be determined. So we would have to be in compliance before we were able to move the pre-K. But it can be done. It's at a cost.
So I'm not sure if this would be for the committee or if it would be for you in particular, Gina, but from your perspective, what seems to be the biggest, I don't know if it's an issue, but is it more the busing, the length of time for the busing, or is it the, dividing up kids that are in the same area? And as far as the feedback that you're getting from parents in general from the Hope Valley School?
Honestly, the feedback from the parents is they want to know the school committee's decision on if they're going to continue with the phase out, because there's a frustration around budget to budget and not knowing what's happening. So they want to know. They want the decision to be out there. They want the school committee to say, this is what's going to happen. That's what the parents are telling me. Either some of them said, just pull the Band-Aid and close it, or just tell us you're not going to do anything but phase it out. And I did tell them that sometimes we can say, we're going to phase it out, and then something happens in the budget. So, there's a lot of information to take into, but currently the enrollment at Hope Valley is 131 students in grades 1 through 4, and the preschool has 98 students.
And that variation between the 131 and the 98, is there a budgetary cost breakout of, what those expenses, what that entails for that?
It depends on the classroom, because obviously pre-K at Hope Valley is a special education student, so that requires special accommodations and needs that we have to meet and requirements. And then with the grades 1 through 4 classroom, there are 2 teachers per grade. So every teacher comes with the cost, as does every classroom, and then utilities, etc.
Laura, you said?
Yep.
Okay. It's Jess and then Linda.
Well, no, Catherine had it first. So, like I mentioned at the last meeting, I feel like this agenda item needs a little more structure, some material. So, like for one example would be, you mentioned at the last meeting about the new ride company that's going to do the facility conditions assessments. I think that could be on a document that's in the agenda materials. Another thing I'd like to see is a timeline of the capital improvement process over the last 5 years, what that looked like, the progress that was made and not made, laid out clearly. I'd also like to include, related to Hope Valley, a list of the budget reductions that were made as a result of not enrolling kindergarten at Hope Valley. And related to that, I think one of the things that would help the school committee and the community see the path forward for Hope Valley is to see a cost benefit analysis of a continued slow phase out versus a faster process to decommission Hope Valley. See those two side by side. And Karen brought it up, but as I've said all along in this process, preschool is one of my biggest concerns. That's one of the reasons I supported the new schools, is that preschool would have a new modern facility that was designed for preschool, that met all the requirements. Now I don't know where it will go. I don't know if it's possible for it to stay at Hope Valley, even if the rest of the school is decommissioned, if that's a possibility at all. Would there have to be an addition made at another school to accommodate that? And then now that we're a couple weeks into the school year, I'm hoping for an update back to Hope Valley on the cuts that we made when we decommissioned, when we started the phase out, because I know it was 2 buses, but it was 1 bus?
1 bus.
The sheet I said it had 2.
Initially.
Initially.
Somebody recommended, we recommended, when I had my budget, then the school committee recommended, it was the first 2, and then you moved it to 1.
Correct.
Based on the fact of you didn't want to move to depot stops.
Okay, but did we add that back
Yeah,
already?
We only
put
have
one
one
back.
Not
bus.
we, but there was a bus added back.
That's what we did.
No,
No,
no, no. There was
This year.
one, from the budget,
buses
one bus was cut.
changed.
I'd have to go back to the minutes, but we only have one cut from the
Correct.
school committee for the bus.
but this year, after the school started, and now the bus schedules are changing tomorrow, some of them, is that because
Oh,
another
could we
bus
have
was
another
add-
cut, you mean?
No, was a bus added back to the
No.
lines? No, like just in operation.
No, we have the
The bus
same
lines were
cost.
just-
There has been no change to adding,
Not
we haven't
during the
added
budget
anything to the
process.
budget.
No, not to the budget, but like, I guess, no. I thought a bus was added to the routes.
Michelle has the budget, so if she can do that based on her numbers, but for the budget,
Right.
we have one cut.
One cut, okay. So, so I'd like to see an update on that, on the cuts we made. I guess, I thought there was 2 buses, so maybe that's not needed.
I'm just going to ask, if you don't mind, just that we, all of your questions, similar to what I received from the other school committee members, if just you send them to us so that
Sure.
we can be prepared with what the requests are. So
Okay.
I appreciate you saying it in public, just,
Yeah. Okay.
I want to make sure we don't miss.
I'm not done. So I'd also like analysis on the changes that were made to kindergarten enrollment, because we did cut 1 kindergarten classroom,
When you say analysis,
like how class sizes, right?
oh, I have
So-
that right now.
No, I know what it is, but I'm curious, so they're above what we discussed. We said 18 to 20, that was like the
That's
kind
still
of,
the average kindergarten.
right, and so there are 2 classes at Richmond that are 22, another that's 20.
That
another
was
that's
based on a
21.
principal decision, because you have a classroom of 19 as well and 20.
Right, yeah. And so it's just, to me, that's a little high. I'm just wondering if maybe there are any openings that haven't been filled across the district that we could add another kindergarten back at Richmond.
We're not even full in kindergarten. At Charleston, I have 17, 17, and 19.
Right,
And Ashway's at 22 and 21. They've typically been 24 and 25 over the years. And Richmond's at 19, 21, 22, 22. Those are reasonable class sizes. Right now, the largest class sizes are at Ashway grade 4 at 23 and Charlestown grade 3 at 23, 23, and 22. Adding a classroom specific to kindergarten, I just want to caution the committee, because I just need everyone to understand that there's a lot of impeding factors to the budget. And I'm happy to bring you data that you need to discuss, but I think I just need to remind everyone, there are 2 curriculums that have to be added for mathematics and science this year. There are 2 negotiations coming up around ESP and student certified staff. There's also increased needs for special education. We received 2 out-of-district students this year, just now, that are over $100,000 per student based on the needs. So while I understand there is a overarching need, and I'm not about increasing class size, I'm going to need clear direction as a majority of what it is. So what maybe it might be best is I need the committee to decide almost like one thing at a time. what data you want first to be brought to the committee so that we can be thoughtful about our next steps with Hope Valley. Because what is not gonna help is if we do if people think we're gonna add a kindergarten and then grade 4 parents are calling and say, well, I have 23. So I just need to be clear about the direction. So maybe you could all think about what you need first at the next meeting. Because while I can appreciate all the information, that's gonna overwhelm parents if we do it all at once. So maybe we could I'm happy to do it, but I think, like we've said, we've mentioned it at one meeting and then it gets lost if we're not really deliberate about each session.
Yeah, I would say the really concrete thing from my comments and concerns is the cost benefit analysis of the two side by side. That would be my top.
The just a clear cost benefit analysis of, okay?
Slowly phasing out Hope Valley.
Oh, the phase out versus a shutdown.
Yeah, right.
And
Got it.
I would actually second that if that
Thank
is
you.
doing anything, because I think
Absolutely.
given that it's budget process coming up, it would be
It'll help.
important
Thank you.
to discuss that.
Well, I think we have to take a vote though. There was a
Yeah,
second.
no, we don't have to.
So you're making that a motion right now?
Oh,
Did you,
Do you want a motion?
do you need it as?
I think only because there's a lot of, what I want to try to avoid is everyone giving me their one opinion and the committee not as a whole determining that that's the information that they want to work off of next.
I don't mind making a motion, or Jess can, because that was her idea.
I think it would allow us to completely understand what the majority of the committee's direction is.
I love those ideas.
Okay, so the motion is to have the superintendent supply a cost analysis showing the benefits or the cost associated with a phase out versus shutting Hope Valley completely next year.
Yep.
Can I just
Question.
add one more to that, or, sorry?
That's all right. I have a clarifying question.
Okay, I have a
Do
clarification.
you want to see it with preschool?
That's
Can you
what my
see it with preschool?
That was good.
Getting,
Well, it's
shutting
saying-
the whole building down.
Right, that's if you're shutting the whole building down, it's preschool's included.
Right.
I guess,
that-
yeah. Would keeping it open just for preschool be an option while we figure out
That's
where
a
to
you
put preschool?
conversation. I need to know if that's something that the majority of the committee would consider.
Well, can you show that as an option?
So why don't we make this a motion?
Right.
Maybe you do the first one and then the second one, so it's separate.
Two motions? Okay, so let's take the first part, the cost analysis with a slow phase out as we discussed, or completely shutting it next year.
Oh, yeah,
Is there a second?
yeah, I'll second.
Second.
Yeah.
I had a question.
You have a question on the motion?
On, before the motion, with the Hope Valley School,
So-
is it possible to like shut down part of the school so you're not heating it?
That's after this question.
So, right, so I'm gonna ask you, hold that, let's work on just the motion, and
Okay.
then we'll get to that after.
And I have a question, was that coming under Linda or Jessica?
Justin
as
and
the
I
motion?
second. Justin, and-
Okay.
yeah.
Questions specific to this motion? Okay, those in favor of this motion? I think it would be exceptionally helpful, yeah, that's
Yeah.
unanimous, thank you.
When everyone wants it, it makes it a little bit easier to understand.
Looking at you.
Okay, so the next part of the question was,
That would be, what is the cost of keeping just the preschool open at Hope Valley?
So just
Is
to
that
clarify,
something we could do?
My thinking is almost in two parts, because you've got to move the preschool
So the
or
cost
keep
or-
it there, right? So you'd want to see the cost of both.
That's
Yep.
what I would recommend. Yeah.
so make a
Go
motion
ahead.
to show the costs associated with moving the preschool out of Hope Valley to Charleston Elementary School.
Okay, I make a motion to,
Right now,
Sure.
that's the recommendation. That's where it is based on
Or-
numbers.
Do you want to not put a school in there?
Yeah, we can
Yeah,
put a
let's
school in
leave
there.
it, just to move it or.
So just moving the preschool.
an analysis of a comparison between moving the preschool to a new location versus keeping it open at Hope Valley.
Second.
Questions specific to this motion?
What were you first?
Yeah, that's my question. Is the school, like, I don't know how the heating is zoned, is it capable of like only having to maintain half, like, not, you're talking
Based on
about-
the zones, I'd have
Yeah,
to
the
ask
cost
Jason.
of
I don't believe it
heating.
is because of the way the boiler system is, but I will double check.
But you have to keep the whole school from freezing.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but I
you have
mean,
water
you,
and
Right, because then you have the pipes burst.
yeah, but you have room.
Which we don't want to do.
What's to keep above freezing, you don't need it
Yeah.
for inhabitants.
I can tell you, I mean, we've been doing the facilities reviews. Obviously, you all know Hope Valley is still the largest level of need around conditions. They're either gonna come back with, a demolition, which it's gonna, or a complete restructure because it's worse conditions obviously than before. We've maintained it. It looks nice, but it's Doesn't meet any other standards.
So, could you just give us the dynamics of the preschool so I understand it better? Such as, you say, how many kids? 98?
98.
98.
And the class size for pre-K is very different than the class size
That's what I'm,
for example, right now, we have 3 half-day programs, so that's 2, 4, 6 programs, half days, right, AM, PM classes. And then we have 1 full-day program based on level of need around their accommodations. So preschool is a little bit harder because you don't know who's coming in, and because they have special accommodations, you have to make sure you provide the service. So I will give you an approximation based on projections of what we know. So for example, like I know and not that this will happen, but based on our pre-K numbers, we have approximately, if we were looking at next year's numbers, if they all stayed, and they don't always do that. So what happens is we enroll them into a Charahoe school. They don't always come to a Charahoe school. So then we have some drop-offs, which is what happened at Richmond and Charlestown and Ashway. There were some kids that didn't show because they didn't come to a Charahoe school. With that being said, when I talk to you about like the numbers of seats, Ashway is currently at 211, Charlestown is currently at 246, and Richmond's currently at 370. So Ashway's got about 36 seats remaining because if you have to add Cala in. Charlestown has 197 seats, Richmond has 162 seats. One of the reasons why my suggestion changed to Charlestown is because the numbers are lower based on my pre-K numbers. So in pre-K, there's almost no students, in grades 1 and 2. So for example, like when Jess said, if we close down Hope Valley, when we look at the district lines, you'd have about 16 kids going to Ashway, but the majority of kids would go to Richmond based on the lines, which is why pre-K really should go to Charlestown so you level off the load. Because we have a lot of space at Charlestown, a lot of space at Richmond.
so, getting back to the dynamics, how many classrooms right now are you using for preschool?
4 at Hope Valley and then 1 at the high school.
Which that's not changing. So what?
No,
only
that's the
thing-
CHIP program.
But the only thing in this conversation is,
But when we call about Hope Valley Annex, that is part of Hope Valley, that is the same.
which I understand that, but the point is, for the sake of this argument, we're talking just that facility alone. So you're talking 4 classrooms, and you would have to maintain a janitorial staff, maybe 1 or 2, I don't know. You'd have to maintain certain things going forward, more than just heat.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm gonna redirect a little bit, because I think we're just talking about.
I know
the
what you
motion.
want to have, this is exactly what I think the families wanted you to discuss.
Yeah.
I just want to know, I have to also vote on that motion. And I want to know what is entailed in this vote. And
Yeah,
no one
there
basically
are,
helped.
not only will we have to consider the IEP accommodations that are required for the students that are currently there, and again, projections for next year, because we don't have them. We also have requirements around playground facilities. You must have a separate playground facility for pre-K that's away from the other students. That's based on the pre-K guidelines. You also need to have specific size of rooms. You must have sinks. You must have toilet facilities based in the classroom. So there's a lot of requirements that come with pre-K that don't come with other classrooms. And it's all in the, if you go to the school building authority, it's all noted under there. But I will have that for you at the next
All
meeting.
right, thank you.
On the subject, but not on the motion, have you considered moving the Cala School to Hope Valley, knowing full well that it's in the best interest of Cala students to matriculate with kids in their own grades? I know that. But it would eliminate that exterior building that we have separate at Ashaway. We could utilize Hope Valley. I know this is a can of worms and I'm getting a little off, but
What I could tell you is, yes, but Mr. Scanapieko and Director Tater are working because obviously there are highest needs students and we want to make sure the families are thoughtful about that. I wouldn't say, yes today because that involves a lot of review of each plan of every student. But they both are going to give me a recommendation when they have one.
cool. I guess that.
But yes, they've been talking about it.
Light in your hands.
Other questions on the motion? Do you understand what we've asked of you?
I believe I do. enough now, we'll double check, but my understanding is that you, the second motion is regarding specific to pre-K, leaving it at Hope Valley and the cost that would come with that, and separating it, and potentially, if it would be at Charlestown, that's where I would be planning it for right now, an approximate, based on, the needs of the students that we currently have as a projection. And I want to be clear, when we give you enrollments, it's always a projection. It's our best guess because you don't know who's moving in. But on average, we pretty much have a good trend.
Yes.
Wait, Catherine was up first.
Okay, Gina, the cost comparison that, that Jessica is requesting, if the projection, the enrollment projection changes, right, from, or I should say, if what we actually end up with is very different than our cost, than our projected enrollment, that would have a, impact on, the cost overall, right?
Correct. That's why when we work with, after we have the Bureau Veritas's report from the Facilities Index, we will get back involved after the November to do a stage 2 facility review and construction plan for our elementary schools. We will have to do another enrollment study.
So my thought is with pre-K, that there may be some parents that are presently anticipating sending their kids to Charhouse pre-K, but when they, if they are from Richmond or if they are from Hopkinton, then if they realize that their kids are going to go to Charleston, they may choose a private pre-K, which
Right now,
could impact then the savings that we, or the cost, the overall cost that we're projecting.
The majority of our families right now are from Charlestown and Richmond that are attending pre-K.
Okay, so then that would eliminate some of what I'm thinking, but still,
No, I mean,
Can
it's
you speak
absolutely
to
there.
that?
Right now, based on the addresses, Charleston and Richmond have more students attending pre-K than Hopkinton.
but again, knowing that parents do
Yeah, I
tend
mean,
to like
There's always an
kids
unknown.
locally, I'm just throwing that in the equation, that when parents find out that their kids are going to Charlestown farther away, they may choose a private school that's nearer to them. I just want to throw that out there.
And that happens now. We have
Yeah.
students who are going to Charleston and Richmond that are on the outskirts of, that come in from pre-K. So parents always have the option.
Right,
not
I
to do
just
that.
think it's important to recognize that that's a potential factor that'll impact things, that's all.
Craig and then Laura. Craig?
So Gina, when we shut down a school, it belongs to a town, and we basically hand the keys back to the town. When you do a cost analysis of maintaining the pre-K program there, could you also throw some information in there in relationship to what investment we'd have to make into the facility for whatever?
Yeah, I
amount?
assume that's what you wanted me to do as well.
Yeah.
Yes. I planned on that.
Okay, thank you.
You mentioned previously that sometimes the parents will, the kids that are in pre-K, that they won't end up going to kindergarten. What's the process for that, and how are you able to confirm that? Do you send a notice out to the parents?
We do
or-
ask. Some of them will tell us, some of them don't.
Okay.
And but we do our best. Our staff at the schools, our principals really do try to find out. But some parents are really good at saying, "Yep, we're coming." Some don't tell us. Some we find out because we get paperwork from either a private school, a charter school, requesting their records. So
And this may be kind of far outside of the realm of, not the knowledge base, but how much input do the different towns have as far as what's available for housing is concerned? Because I know that housing right now is very difficult in all of the areas.
the towns have, that's their realm. I have nothing to do with their housing.
But as far as like family dwellings, is that something that's even available that they communicate to us or anything along those
When they were
lines?
speaking about a project like Brushy Brook, that was a few years ago, they submitted a request, but there's information that we need to be able to give them how much it would cost for the increased number of students. Hopkinton has seen an increase in students last year, but they typically let us know. We have not received any other information from either towns about any additional, like, that's not already happening. But our enrollment has had a slow decrease. Right now, our total enrollment for the district is 3,084.
Okay.
Are questions on this motion? Okay, those in favor? Donna? Unanimous, thank you. Are we ready to move on from this topic? Because I did that last time and then
That's a big chunk of the elephant. I think you guys are having.
people were upset.
Oh,
Did you have time? Okay.
I'm Greg Abadesian, I'm from the town of Hopkinton. I hadn't heard a discussion of a complete closure of the Hope Valley School all at once. I've heard the phase out. Is there something that's initiated this consideration?
For me, it's the committee. So for example, there have been members that have, last year had asked about the complete decommissioning of Hope Valley. So we began those conversations last year. I think I mentioned to the committee previous that the conversations giving Hope Valley back to the town had started back in 2005 with Superintendent Ritchie, but there's never been a date attached to it. So I think for the first time, our families received an actual data phase out. And to be honest, I think when we were talking about the phase out, my recommendation was the phase out because we were talking to families about facility changes, trying to get a bond passed in order to fix the infrastructure of our very old facilities in elementary school. And with all of that, we felt it was a lot of change that could have happened. So we figured like one bite at a time. We had 9 families that would have been placed in Hope Valley this year if we had kept it open. So I think, that was a good decision on the committee's part to phase out. Our first grade classrooms are very small. Right now, they're 13 and 12 or 13 and 13. So obviously, they're like 1 or 2 above what the contract allows, but it's small.
Does this have anything to do with the recent inspection by Bureau Veritas in terms of accelerating the plan?
No, I think the committee has been told by me several times that, which is why we put it we could not build new on it, which was determined. And with the new, I'm based just on the walk that we did. I mean, the building is not getting any younger. It's overcapacity with electrical, it's overcapacity with the water, overcapacity with the heat. Just like the other schools, there's no humidity control, which means you've got mold that grows, you have to clean because there's no way for temperatures to be controlled in the schools. But I think the committee was well aware that the Hope Valley closure with the decreasing enrollment and with the condition of the building, again, is it unsafe? No, it's not unsafe, but it needs a lot of TLC to be kept up running. And when I say that, it's, millions of dollars to be able to upgrade that. It's not ADA compliant, no elevator, you can't, not just for students, but if you're a mom or dad that wants to go to your child's classroom upstairs, you can't. So there's just a lot of level of need.
Where will this, so if you do it all in one shot, what about classroom size, or what impact will that have on the classes?
So classroom size is negotiated with the school committee. They will be negotiating. Typically, I'll be honest with you, and I think I've told the committee this, I don't base my projections on maximum capacity. Now, I can be directed to do that by the school committee, but I typically I will go no more than typically 22. Now, Ashaway School has had 23, 24 when we project for K. Now, kids move in, so you never know. But like I said, Charleston has 2 classrooms that are at 23, as does Ashaway at 23 and 24. But in the end, I typically try to make 22 my max. If the committee wants it to be lower, then I would need that direction. But in the end, I think there's also a lot of other competing needs, elementary, middle, and high. Middle school is our highest level of need when it comes to instructional. So there's a lot of competing interests. But overall, we are looking at like I said, for the current capacity, I asked one of our individuals in the office to do the Hope Valley students. So when we look currently at Hope Valley, so for example, if they all went to Charahoe next year for pre-K, 16 of those pre-K students would be slotted for Ashaway K, Charlestown 20, and Richmond 24. Now, with that being said, we also know many parents don't choose pre-K. They don't all go to pre-K. So our typical numbers seem to be around, with Richmond, about 4 classrooms. Charlestown, they were at 3. We could drop that to 2 based on what we're seeing, because right now there's 20 pre-K. That would be moved, next year that would be Charlestown K, and then Richmond 24. But based on what we do is we look at patterns and trends across the district. So in our first grade at Hope Valley, because there's no kindergarten students, we would have 5 students moving to, if the committee closed it, 5 students moving to Ashaway in first grade, 7 students moving to Ashaway in second grade, and 6 students moving to Ashaway in third grade. So there would be 34 students currently at Hope Valley moved to Ashaway if this committee decided to close it. In Charlestown, and that's not including the pre-K that would move up. Charlestown, there would be no first graders, no second graders, and 1 third grader, which is why my recommendation was to switch pre-K over to Charlestown to balance out those, because for Richmond, because obviously Hope Valley and Richmond are very close together, there would be 22 first graders, 29 second graders, well, 22 first graders currently will be second graders, 29 second graders going into third, and 28 third graders going into fourth. If we stick with the current lines, there would be a conversation, because those are based on the current addresses of who's in the seats at Hope Valley as of today.
How many was that total though, to go to Richmond? You said 34 for Ashaway. How many for Richmond? Total? You gave the numbers.
103 and 21 for Charlestown.
Which mean,
And just to remind you, Richmond had, so for the capacity at Richmond is at 370, and the capacity is 532. Charlestown is at 246, and their capacity is 443.
that may, to answer your question, that may not necessarily impact class size because the teachers from Oak Valley would be moving.
Correct. So
they-
those are, so
right,
for
it would be
example,
just the space.
as an example, so let's say we knew that in our second grade, there was going to, so there's 2 teachers at Hope Valley right now teaching first grade. Based on the numbers, we may need both of them to move to another school, or we may need 1, and then we may need 2 more in second grade. So based on the overall decision, we would have to look at those class sizes to determine what numbers and where. But right now, when we look at an average of 22, let's say for kindergarten, we technically need 8.1 classrooms. We have 9.
Right.
Just one last comment. As the former chair of the building committee, I just think that when we're considering closing the Ashaway School, whether it's phase out or
Hope Valley, please don't say
I mean,
that. That's all I need is a
I'm
lot of
sorry.
phone calls from her.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Hope Valley, or we're going to do it all at once. I just don't think. I think the discussion can't be had in a vacuum. That it has to be done in consideration of the issues with the facilities throughout the district.
Agreed.
And last is congratulations, Donna. Good luck.
Yeah, I think my question got lost somewhere along the way, but what I had asked you, Gina, and I don't know if I missed the email, I did look for it. At the last school committee meeting, I asked what the maximum amount we could have in each school, and you were gonna reach out to the fire marshal. So did I miss that?
Yep, I sent that to you. So I have it here
All right,
today.
don't worry, don't
No,
worry.
that's okay.
If you sent it, I'll find it
Just to be
again.
clear, the fire marshal's numbers are much higher because there's no educational environment. So they were like, oh, you can put 64 kids in that room, you can put 36 kids in that room, but we have contracts and class size. So the fire marshal, so for Richmond, over 1,000. 532 for education. In Charlestown, over 700, 443 for educational. For Ashaway, 500, 258. And Hope Valley, 303 for education and 500 for fire. And again, that's because they go, you can put 68 kids in this room, you can put 37. And
So they're just looking safety-wise?
they're looking about the square footage.
Got it. And as far as the educational, are you going by best practice or state law or both?
I'm going by rides, requirements, and then our contract sizes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My question is, the Charahoe Act and what it says about matriculating students through the Hope Valley School versus the early phase out and expediting
If the school
it.
exists, correct.
That's,
So because
that's what
if-
needs to be explained.
Yeah, so good question. So in the Charahoe Act, if you're no longer enrolling students into the grade and the school doesn't exist, then you can't matriculate in the school. So and the example I've given in the past is when the district moved grade 5 to the middle school, and when you all closed the kindergarten. So the Charahoe Act is, if you kept Hope Valley open, you couldn't say to this family, well, you know, we're going to keep first grade, but we want 10 of you to go over to Richmond. But we're going to keep the other 10 of you here. That you can't do. You can't determine who gets to stay and who gets to go. You have to either close it with a complete grade, or you have to close the school.
Any other questions? I appreciate the agenda item. I thought I liked the structure of it. You know, at the last meeting, a couple of people were frustrated that we hadn't made a decision. So let me be clear, I'm not going to make any decision until we can see what the numbers are, because it comes down to a budgetary concern as far as I'm concerned. You know, I don't want parents to feel that the rug has been pulled out from underneath them, which is why we keep talking about it. It's on every agenda, but I couldn't in good conscience make any decisions until I saw the budgetary impacts of it. Craig?
And last meeting, I only resurrected the discussion due to the fact that I felt that 7 to 8 minutes of discussions with such magnitude deserve more time, so.
Sure, yeah, that's fine. I appreciate the structure we'll have going forward, because to me, it was just kind of nebulous. Moving on.
Okay, next item on the agenda is the budget transfers. I am recommending approval of the transfers for September 17th, 2024.
So moved.
Second.
There's questions on the transfers? All in favor? It's unanimous, thank you.
And FY '24 is just the budget update that you requested as usual. There's no motion required.
Anybody have any questions on the budget update? Okay. moving on.
I don't have a question, but I did notice that there was a 5-year budget forecast.
You get
included
it
in the
every year.
material,
It's
so I just
posted
want to
on-
point that out. That's something that folks ask for, that has always been provided, and
Yes.
just wanted to state that for the record.
So it's always posted on our website. It's always submitted to the school committee, and it's always sent to the state on the municipal page.
Okay, thanks.
Consent?
Anybody have anything that needs to be pulled from the consent agenda?
Madam Chair, can you explain?
Yes, so this is where if you didn't feel comfortable voting on a minute, if you wanted to pull it, so you didn't vote on those minutes, or if you're comfortable with the minutes that you've read, you can certainly vote on them.
Okay.
Thank you.
Seeing no one wants to pull anything, I'll make a motion to approve them all, but before I do, I want to recognize donations. One, a $200 donation from James Richardone, Ocean Springs, Mississippi, to the CTC Electrical Technology Program in honor of his father, Frank Richardone, who is 103 years old and had a heating business for income while raising his family of 6 children. 2, donation from Riverhead Building Supply, Michaela Morio of New York and Todd Phelan of Wesley / Richmond of school supplies valued at $500 to Charahoe School students. 3, donation from Abby Rogers, Richmond Charahoe Senior and former Richmond School student, of art supplies valued at $75 to the Richmond Elementary School. 4, donation from Reddy and Sons Excavating of Charleston, Rhode Island, of 5 yards of loom valued at $150 to the Charlestown School Outdoor Learning Garden. 5, donation from Carpenter's Farm, Matunic, Rhode Island, of 2 yards of mulch valued at $80 to the Charlestown School Outdoor Learning Garden. 6, donation from Teolis Landscaping, Jason Teolis of Charleston, Rhode Island, of 2 hours of machine time valued at $200 to the Charlestown School Outdoor Learning Garden. A special thanks to educator Vanessa Freelove and her family for all the work they've done on the garden project.
Second.
Those in favor? That is unanimous, thank you.
Okay, so subcommittee reports. The audit subcommittee will meet on September 24th from 5:30 to 6:30 p.m. in the Administration Building Conference Room. For my report, school opening updates. The opening of schools has gone very well. Our classrooms are abuzz as our students get back into the swing of things. I am pleased with the strength of our instruction and student engagement. We have shared a welcome back flyer in September and August newsletters with information regarding busing, annual report, school calendar, school bell times, student handbooks, meal information, open house schedules, and how to receive school messenger texts. Please check your emails for the open house schedules, as Hope Valley was updated today and it has been reposted on the website. Transportation, as you all know, in an effort to cut costs, the school committee reduced the transportation budget by cutting one bus in our fleet. While the transportation policy in Charahoe has stayed consistent, we've had less flexibility when assigning students to buses. Despite these adjustments, safety continues to be our top priority. For the past 5 years, we've worked diligently to accommodate families as best we can, even within the limitations of the policy. I want to remind everyone that we noted that the cut would mean fewer individualized stops and more group stops. We have been able to ensure that every child registered for transportation is assigned to a bus. However, we can no longer accommodate bus changes that would provide a child with more than one assigned bus. Our police departments do sign off on all of our routes and our stops per our policy. We will be reviewing the routes again after the 10 days of no ridership, which comes up tomorrow, to continue to make our routes as efficient as possible. As many of you know, there have been some leadership changes. We recently informed our school communities that we will be making these changes in the next couple of months. Mr. Gregory Zenyan, seated here to my left, will be taking over as Director of Administration and Finance. Giuseppe Giancarelli will be taking over as the middle school principal to replace Mr. Zenyan. Jessica Napieco will be taking over Hope Valley Elementary School, as we have posted for the principal at Ashaway. Once a principal has been selected, we will begin transitioning everyone to their new roles. We posted at the beginning of the weekend, and as of this morning, there are 12 applicants. And as far as we have regarding our opportunities for parents and community involvement, and we were going to have our ESS virtual parent workshops coming in October. There will be a flyer going out this week, so please stay tuned. And if you review the coming events, like I said, the only change is Hope Valley Elementary School. Now, all of the open houses are happening on September 25th.
School committee requests for future agenda items and legal opinions. We have a few. Okay, I'm gonna go right down the line. Larry.
Could you put in, FYI, a monthly report on what maintenance has been done to the facilities?
That would require, we have to actually, that says the report doesn't exist, so I would need, and I don't have anybody in that position right now, so it's
What
not a-
about Jason?
No, that he does maintenance, but Ned oversees all of that. Because you're asking for budgetary maintenance and capital both.
Did you ask for budgetary or just the items that are being done? Because I
Well-
know,
I mean, we have work orders every single day. That's a lot of work orders. Like, I mean, do you want every plug that's fixed, every light that's fixed, every,
well,
Not
it
for all
could
the
be
schools.
all the schools.
Yeah.
like,
general.
I don't have, I mean, if you want to hire, let me hire someone. I don't have the staff
Well,
to do
Ned
that.
used to do it, right?
Not that, no.
No.
You're talking about
'Cause he did it
every
before
work
for-
order we
he
do
did
for
it before.
maintenance. Say it again?
I think he did it before when I asked, for, I think.
I can tell you the total budget of shut maintenance, but not every single thing we've done every month.
Okay,
It's,
you must have know what you did to the schools, right?
Sure, but I don't have a report that pulls it the way you want it all at once,
Okay.
every school.
All right,
That's a work, not, doesn't compile the report that way.
okay.
There's a UCOA code attached to the school, so I can do it by
Could you-
UCOA code.
Could you say you did?
Why don't you put it
$1,000
in
worth
an
of
email to Catherine so that we can review it, because this way,
Okay.
because I don't want to talk about the agenda item that's not on the agenda.
Yeah, so what I've asked everybody is just send me an email with it and then we
Okay.
can workshop it a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Did you want to go next?
Yeah, considering, I guess, an evaluation is just done at Hope Valley School, can we get their input on what they saw?
So the report is, remember, it's like the Jacobs report. So what they do is they're just there to note the condition of the facility. They're not providing any recommendations, they're not providing what they think you should do. What they're saying is based on the structures, and they have a requirement they have to do for RIDE. They'll submit the report to RIDE, and RIDE submits the report to the districts. And then it goes up, posted to the state legislature, et cetera, because the state law says they have to be provided the updates to the state. So once I have it, you'll have it.
Okay, so therefore, they're gonna give you a bullet list of everything.
They're gonna, it should look similar to the Jacobs report,
All right.
is what I'm told.
So that,
Yeah, this goes back to Gina's report. Gina, of the Ashaway principal applications how many of them would you guess?
Is that a future
Are-
agenda?
No, I didn't have a chance before we went to future agenda. I had a question about your report and wanted to know were those in-house were there any in-house?
I don't know. I just know
So you
that
don't
Kristen
know.
let me know that
Okay,
there was.
Okay. Yes, and then Paul.
So last week I went to Richmond Elementary School at lunchtime to see their Waste Warriors program, which is part of the Rhode Island School Recycling Project and Get Food Smart program. It's my understanding there's money from the Get the Phone grant, and they have money to extend it to all the schools. And so I talked to an organizing director that day at lunch, and he said that they have a presentation they can bring to the school committee if we'd like to see it, if you guys would like to see it in action. So I think that would be interesting for us to see as a group.
And the two students from Richmond will be on with me next week on WBLQ to talk about Waste Warriors.
Nice.
Just a quick question. How's the CTC roof? Is it
Partial.
partial?
It's in the FYI. It's in the
Okay.
packet, yeah.
Yeah, I was just seeing what phase it's at.
Yep, if you go to the FYI section, it was all listed, yeah.
Great.
Yeah, it said the phase that they were on was done, completed on time, under
And
budget.
under budget.
Yeah.
yeah, that was amazing. That was amazing. And quite a significant amount too.
Which is great.
So that.
Future
amount-
agenda items.
Yeah.
Yeah, right, got it.
Thank you. That's very good.
Seeing there's no other, we've gone around the dais, Madam Chair, I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Everybody wants that one.
Thank you.